Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna, everyone. So we are very happy to welcome all of you. So we are continuing this remembrance session of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Guru Maharaj. And today we are having very special guests, 3 devotees speaking, sharing on Srila Guru Maharaj. So His Grace Lila Purushottama Prabhu, His Grace Akincana Prabhu, and Her Grace Jahnava Mataji. So I would like to request His Grace Lila Purushottama Prabhu to kindly start. I will give a brief introduction about Prabhuji. So before that, we Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Srimad Bhakti Charu Swami Niti Nande Snigdha Cheta Shubhane Vaminam Chara Shukraptam Prabhupada Gata Pranami Bhakti Charu Pada Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Nande Namaste Saraswati
No, now I unmuted.
Okay, let's start now.
Shall I?
Yes.
Okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to glorify His Holiness Bhakti Charu Guru Maharaj. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Charu Swami Iti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Dear devotees, I first met His Holiness Bhakti Charu Guru Maharaj when he very kindly visited my house in 1999. Since then, my wife, my daughter, and I have attended his programs in London, and gradually my wife and I were convinced that we should take his shelter. In 1999, on the recommendation of Gaur Hari Prabhu and Radhika Devi Dasi, Rameshwar Prabhu kindly organized for Maharaj to stay in my house with the Abhay Charan team, which included Shyam Sundar Prabhu, Yaduvara Prabhu, and Mother Vishakha. At that time, my wife Savitri Priya served the entire team with enthusiasm. And although she had terminal cancer, of which she was unaware of at that time, in that painful condition, she and I moved to stay at my sister's nearby house so that the team could stay more comfortably. Although Guru Maharaj had stopped giving initiation for 2 years, he very kindly initiated her and me, given her special circumstances. On the advice of Guru Maharaj, my wife Savitri Priya and I visited Sridham Mayapur and also went on parikramas with Guru Maharaj and the London devotees. Guru Maharaj encouraged me to spend time in Mayapur, so I got an apartment there. Whenever we visited Mayapur over the years, Dayaram Prabhu and Prema Manjari took excellent care of us. Following Guru Maharaj's instructions strictly, Savitri Priya finally departed from this world in the presence of devotees in 2000. Guru Maharaj came to see her a month before she passed away. He took time out of his busy schedule of filming Abhay Charan in America to come and guide her at that time. After her departure, Guru Maharaj told us she had gone back home, back to Godhead. Guru Maharaj explained that she was a simple housewife devotee, but because she followed Srila Prabhupada's instructions, she achieved success in spiritual life. This was only possible by Guru Maharaj's causeless mercy. On the advice of Guru Maharaj, I took Savitri Priya's ashes to Mayapur, where he personally, along with Janani Prabhu and Pankajangari Prabhu, did the ceremony in Ganges. Guru Maharaj had his Vyas Puja in Mayapur at that time. After Vyas Puja, there was a big flood in Mayapur. The Ganges water rose very high and covered Lord Narasimhadev completely and came up to Radha Madhav's knees. Prema Manjari looked after us again, and we moved with the rest of the devotees to the conch building. Guru Maharaj was giving classes in his rooms. He felt very concerned for the devotees, and so he left Mayapur to go to Calcutta to arrange for provisions for the Mayapur devotees. He went on a small boat with only a few devotees, and then by train to Calcutta. All the devotees were praying for Guru Maharaj's protection on his journey because it was a dangerous situation with dacoits around. Guru Maharaj reached Calcutta safely, and he sent a big steam ship with bhoga and medicines to Mayapur for the devotees. As I was retired, Guru Maharaj instructed me to spend time in Mayapur and later in Ujjain. When Guru Maharaj was producing Abhay Charan, I got the good fortune to do some service. On the advice of Guru Maharaj, Radha Vinod Prabhu entrusted me to distribute Abhay Charan videos and DVDs around the world for 12 years. During this and other few occasions, I realized by Guru Maharaj's mercy the importance of practical service in addition to chanting the holy name sincerely. Guru Maharaj's service to Srila Prabhupada and his ISKCON is outstanding, like translating Srila Prabhupada's books in Bengali, rescuing New Mayapur Temple in France, producing Abhay Charan videos, construction of Radha Madan Temple in Ujjain in record time of 9 months and 20 days, hosting devotees during 2016 Kumbh Mela at Ujjain, rescuing New York Temple, and holding seminars around the world. Following Guru Maharaj's instructions, I began to spend 6 months every year in Ujjain since the opening of the temple. Guru Maharaj would stay in Ujjain a lot, and so I had wonderful opportunities to receive his association and closely associate with the devotees. Guru Maharaj wanted the Bengali devotees to learn English so that they could preach internationally. So I had the opportunity to help them by teaching them English. During my stay in Ujjain, Guru Maharaj encouraged me to look up to senior Prabhupada disciples in ISKCON as my spiritual master, to try to please them by service in Ujjain and London, and to receive their mercy. In Spiritual Connections magazine dated 26 May 1994, Guru Maharaj instructed, devotees should look at initiated disciples of other gurus in ISKCON as our spiritual cousins, relate with them with respect and friendship, and develop a strong bond of love with them. This is the family of Srila Prabhupada. That was a message from Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj was expert at dealing with devotees of all ages according to our individual capacities and capabilities. For example, some of the children in London and Ujjain who were regularly guided by Guru Maharaj are now adults, and they are now exemplary devotees, either living in the temple or executing wonderful devotional service while staying at home. Similarly, Guru Maharaj understood my health limitations. He told me that I should attend the temple program, and he encouraged me to go to preaching programs with the Ujjain devotees and to go on Harinam with them. In London, as well as in Ujjain, he also encouraged me to look after visiting devotees when they came from abroad. Guru Maharaj is always present with us in his instructions. Guru Maharaj appreciated the exemplary help and guidance His Holiness Bhakti Prem Swami gave me over many years during my stay in Ujjain and also during my international and local travels with Maharaj. Thank you very much again for this opportunity to glorify Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Lila Purushottama Prabhu, for your sweet remembrances. We'd now like to welcome Akincana Prabhu and Jahnava Devi Dasi. Akincana Prabhu joined ISKCON in 1980 in UK. He was the brahmachari in the temple doing Sankirtan for 8 years. Received initiation from His Holiness Gaur Govinda Maharaj in 1990. He is based at the manor and Vrindavan with his wife Jahnava. Jahnava joined ISKCON in 1985 at the manor. She received initiation from Guru Maharaj in 1990. That's a very, very humble introduction. Akincana Prabhu has done years and years of service. They were, you know, the ISKCON today is very different from the ISKCON that we joined many years ago. Akincana Prabhu and Jahnava were amongst that breed of grihastas who were sent to, even though they were grihastas, they used to collect for the temple. I know Akincana Prabhu collected for the Bhubaneswar temple. And they would collect and give everything to the temple, 100%. That's how austere they were as grihastas. And Akincana Prabhu has been a very, very dear godbrother of ours. He has also served Japataka Maharaj as his personal servant. Jahnava has done a lot of service for Guru Maharaj. She has edited Spiritual Connections for many years. She's done a lot of editing service for Guru Maharaj. She was a very dear disciple of Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj was extremely fond of her because she was an extremely gentle, humble, and submissive disciple. Any devotees from those times, they know what a gentle lady Jahnava was. Never criticizes anyone, always doing humble service. She's a fabulous cook. Guru Maharaj was very fond of her cooking. Guru Maharaj sent her, I remember one time in the late 80s, Guru Maharaj sent her with Malini to the Belgian embassy in Calcutta to bake for the ambassador, the Belgian ambassador to India. The Guru Maharaj was very fond of her. So thank you very much for agreeing to come, Akincana Prabhu and Jahnava. I hand over the floor to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prema. Very kind words. Dandavat pranams Vaishnavas. Radhe Radhe. I would like to start off by just singing a little bhajan. It's a small bhajan by Narottam Das Thakur, glorifying the Vaishnavas. So if you don't mind, I'll just sing. But before that, of course, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Vishnu Bhutale, Shrimati Govinda Swami Tiname, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Vishnu Bhutale, Shrimati Bhakti Charu Swami Tiname, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Vishnu Bhutale, Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tiname, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pacharani, Nirvishesha Sunyamadi Paschata Desatarni, Om Jnana Timarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshuru Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gaurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya. This bhajan is a nice bhajan by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. It's called Ki Rupe Paibo Seva. So I'll just sing it. I put no instruments or anything. I'll just sing the bhajan. Ki rupe paibo seva muy duracha. Shri Guru Vaishnave Rati Nahoilo Ama Asesha Mayete Mana Magna Hoilo Vaishnavlesha Matra Rati Najana Mailo Vishaya Buliandha Hoinu Divanisi Gale Pasadite Pire Maya Se Pisachi Ihare Korea Jaya Chadano Na Jaya Sadhu Kripa Binoan Nahi Ko Paya Ado Shadarasi Prabhu Patita Udhara Ebara Naran Narotame Karoho Nistara Kirupe Paivo Seva Muiduracha Shri Guru Vaishnave Rati Nahoilo Ama. I'll just read the translation. How can a wicked person like me ever attain devotional service? I have not developed any attachment to Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas. My mind is ceaselessly absorbed in material pursuit. Not even the slightest bit of attachment to the Vaishnavas has developed within me. Having grown delirious as a result of continuous sense gratification, I have become blind, and the witch of Maya has tied a noose of material desires around my neck. There is no way to defeat Maya and obtain release from her without the mercy of saintly persons. O Master, you never see the faults of others, and you are the savior of the fallen. Now please deliver this Narottam Das. Just a little history. Not that I want to brag about myself, but since I joined in 1980, up to the point of, up to 1986, I had taken initiation from 2 different spiritual masters, and unfortunately they fell away. So that actually left me in a pretty bad state. This was in 86, 87. I had lost faith in authority, let's put it that way. And the higher the authority, like, Prabhupada disciples and regional secretaries, and even when it got to the guru stage, that was, I couldn't stand them anymore, really. I was just in a very bad way. So the only thing that really kept me going, I should have left actually in 1986, but what really kept me going was that I had some attachment for Srila Prabhupada, and his books, actually, they really saved me in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, what he had given us. So somehow or other I stayed because I just felt I owed it to Srila Prabhupada and to just carry on in my Krishna consciousness somehow. But because of the attitude that I have had towards Vaishnavas, like this song you say, no rati, what is it? Vaishnavi lalesha matra rati na janmilo. No attachment to Vaishnavas, having a disregard for them, especially the older ones. So this wasn't a very good, healthy situation for someone to actually carry on in Krishna consciousness. And it was just a matter of time before I actually left the society. But during that time, it was my fortune, good fortune. Maharaj actually started to visit England at the time, end of 86, 87. And although my attitude wasn't very good and I wasn't happy even seeing these so-called gurus and so on and so forth. But anyway, somehow or other, one of your godbrothers, Gopavindapal, I don't know if you remember him. He was a friend of mine. He was aspiring from Bhakti Charu Maharaj at the time. And Maharaj actually needed a lift to go somewhere, and the temple hadn't arranged anything. So somehow or other, Gopavindapal pushed me and and asked me to just drive Maharaj. So I thought, okay, might as well. Let's, no harm. So anyway, just from that little association I had with Maharaj during that little drive, I could understand that this person is not, he's not like someone I'd met before. He was he was a gentleman. Let's put it that way. He was a gentleman. He was very unassuming, simple, and very nice, very friendly. And I didn't feel intimidated or any dislike for him, actually. Just yeah, just from that initial contact, I actually began to like him. And so I had the opportunity to do some service for Maharaj, and I was just driving him around. And actually this little service that I did and for him, he could understand, where I was at, and he wanted to help me, actually, and he did help me. He was very nice and very kind, and he started preaching to me, and I just wanted to share a few of the things that he told me to kind of wean me and steer me out of my road to destruction. So first thing he ever mentioned to me was that this somehow or other you've come to Krishna consciousness, and this opportunity is very, very rare, because this particular Kali Yuga it's called Danya Kali Yuga, and the Mahaprabhu has come to give something extremely special that no other avatar of Krishna or even Mahaprabhu himself, because this particular this particular Kali Yuga, the Mahaprabhu that has come is the full avatar of Mahaprabhu, and he's come to give this Krishna Prem for practically nothing. And so Maharaj was saying, he said, you've got this opportunity now, and you don't want to just blow it, because just having this attitude that you have towards Vaishnavas, and he gave me some, it's like little classes here and there about Vaishnava etiquette and how to carry yourself so that you can protect your Bhakti Lata. He said Bhakti Lata has to be protected, and the protection is Vaishnavas. And also this Vaishnava etiquette is like a fence that helps you to grow nicely and not destroy yourself. So like that, Maharaj is very nice. He was just preaching to me like this, and he kind of like steered me out of this road to destruction that I was heading for. And for that, I'm still around because of that. And I used to ask him a lot of questions. It was actually these car rides, they were actually very nice, because besides just preaching to me from time to time, he was also a very interesting person. He always used to ask questions and inquire about things like the Jaguar car and so on, and he used to ask us what we did for as brahmacharis, what we did for a little fun sometimes. So we told him we used to go swimming on Saturdays to the local pool. And also, we used to visit Bhaskar. It was a secret code. Bhaskar is actually the Baskin and Robbins ice cream parlor. And we had a secret code for that. We used to call it Bhaskar. So anyway, one time we were driving, I was taking Maharaj back from a program, and we went past this Bhaskar. So Maharaj, we're just going past Bhaskar today. I said, oh, Bhaskar, let's see. He saw it was this Baskin and Robbins. He said, hey, Akincana, why didn't you just pull over and get something? You know what the brahmacharis, they usually like, what you guys like? Get something. So anyway, I went in and I got a few different flavors of ice cream. And Maharaji, I mean, he really enjoyed it. He was kind of fun like that. And also, I mean, he was he didn't appear to be like someone who's riding a high horse, although he was a Prabhupada disciple, a sannyasi, a guru. But at the same time, you could relate to him. And I really appreciated that. And sometimes I would drive him to, there was near Bhaktivedanta Manor. I used to drive him to the park sometime, Aldenham Park, and he just wanted to, take a little break and just rest in the car and, just chant some rounds. So I used to do things like that. And also one time he was very interested in the aerodrome. There's a small aerodrome near the manor. And I used to drive him there, and he would just watch the planes take off and land, just watch for a little while, and then they'll put him to sleep. He would just rest for a little while, and then I'll take him back to the manor. So, things like that. It was just very nice, and developed an attraction, liking towards him. And whenever he came after that, I would always try to serve him. And he would also just check to see if I was still, I still had this, what is that? Lesha Matara Rati, this, no attachment for Vaishnavas and having this, this bad attitude. So, I really thank from the bottom of my heart that Maharaj saved me. So I just wanted to share this with you today. Thank you very much. Yeah, Pancha Kalpatrivasya Vipasya. Patitanam Bhakti. And now for the main speaker.
Thank you, Akincana Prabhu. You really, you all three deserve one slot each, not three of you together. But I really tried convincing Jahnava, but I'm grateful she at least agreed to speak for the little time she is. But I think if all of you encourage her and beg her to share all the mercy that she's carrying in her heart, I'm sure she'll do another session. Hari Bol, Jahnava.
Hare Krishna. Thank you Prema for that introduction, and we're very unworthy of everything you said, and I know that you carry Guru Maharaj's mood of caring for devotees, appreciating them, and I feel so blessed and grateful to Guru Maharaj for you extended your friendship to me, and I learned so much from you. I just offer some praise. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Charu Swami Dinamini Snita Cheta Supranita Bhagavatam Charasa Prabhupada Kata Pranam Nami Bhakti Charupadam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Dinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini, Nirvishesha Shanivadi Pashchaja Vishtarini, Vanchakalpatu Pascha Kripasindu Bevacha, Patitanam Bhavani Vyo Vaishnavi Vyo Namaha. Dear devotees, thank you for letting me glorify Guru Maharaj, try and glorify Guru Maharaj. I'm actually not very good at speaking in public, so please bear with me, and I hope I can say something to glorify Guru Maharaj for your pleasure. I met Guru Maharaj when he came first in 1986, 1987. This was, as I had been
Sorry,
saying,
Jahnava, could you speak a little louder, please?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry to interrupt.
I met Guru Maharaj when he came to England in 1986, 1987. And this was around the time, as my husband was saying, after our leader there, he had spiritual difficulties. And so Shiva Maharaj actually invited Guru Maharaj to come and to help the devotees. And at that time, Guru Maharaj was, in 87, he had just become a member of the GBC, and he initiating Guru. So, the environment that he came into was quite a difficult one at the manor, and in England, the devotees were, confused, hurt, they'd lost a lot of faith. But when I saw Guru Maharaj, it's like I'd never seen anyone like him, any leader or guru like him. He was very humble, gentle, extremely learned, but also very aristocratic, Vaishnav, possessing all Vaishnav qualities. So it really attracted me to him. And I had been also aspiring from the guru, who had difficulties, and so my faith as well was quite badly affected. And but just hearing from Guru Maharaj and just being in his presence, it definitely healed my heart, and I didn't really even realize really what was happening, but I was just attracted to him and drawn to him. I think the other day I was thinking how, like, Guru Maharaj, when he first became GBC and Guru, that he was given the responsibility of taking care of France. He was co-GBC in France with Bhakti Damodar Maharaj, and I think also Belgium. And later in '89, he started to go to South Africa, and he became co-GBC there with Giriraj Maharaj. And these were, at that time in ISKCON, these were the zones which had been affected, by the leaders having difficulties. So Guru Maharaj's first, in one sense, Guru Maharaj's first responsibilities were very difficult and challenging ones, to go into these areas, these countries where devotees were going through so much. But just by his presence, and like in England, he wasn't GBC in England, but he used to come very often. And just by his presence, he was, the way he would give classes and spend time with the devotees, it definitely helped so much, And at the manor on Sundays, we have Chaitanya Charitamrita class. So Guru Maharaj would give the class, and it was very, very special. The way he would speak, very relishable, and it seemed like to me that he had stepped out of the CC, the way he would speak. And also around that time, I guess because of the difficulties in ISKCON, so the Ritvik philosophy was, starting to, gain momentum. So quite often, after class, when devotees would ask questions, Guru Maharaj had to deal with that a lot, But he was very expert, answer from scriptures, but and explain very nicely. And I think, like, also I saw, like with everything, whenever ISKCON faced any challenges, difficulties, Guru Maharaj's solution and his was always the same, to emphasize Srila Prabhupada's position, that, to glorify Prabhupada, to make him put him in the center, and that we should take shelter of him as the preeminent Shiksha Guru in ISKCON. So when I received initiation, it was Sita Devi's appearance day, and it was Jahnava Mata's appearance day. There weren't so many of us at that time, and so I have a picture which I wanted to share with you. Hopefully you can see it. I'm sorry about the quality. I think you can see it. So you can see this is at the manor, and there's two of us. One of us received the name Janaki Devi Dasi, and one I received the name Jahnava. And you can see Prema there. Prema, you were studying in England at the time, and you came to receive your Brahmin initiation. And you can't actually see the devotees, but there were quite a few devotees receiving Brahmin. They were sitting behind Guru Maharaj. There's Govinda Prabhu, Balaram Prabhu, I think Gaurasundar Prabhu, and a few from Europe devotees.
I'm really sorry to interrupt you, but I don't see any picture. I don't know if anyone else can see it. I don't think
it. Okay. Okay, so maybe I just close it. And I think do I have to share the screen? No. Did you see those pictures? No. Okay.
No, Mataji. Pictures are not visible, Mataji.
Okay, so we just leave it, I think, because it's too complicated. When I received initiation, that time, of course, like Guru Maharaj, like he always did, he emphasized that we should our allegiance and loyalty to Srila Prabhupada and to ISKCON, but he also asked us to promise to chant 25 rounds on Ekadashi. So at that time, for some time, Guru Maharaj was asking disciples to do that, but also he would see, like he didn't ask everybody, because he, like Guru Maharaj is always very understanding, considerate. He understood our own individual situation. So if he saw that some disciples were had a lot of service, or if they were working, then he didn't ask them to chant 25 rounds. And those days, Guru Maharaj was on Ekadashis, he would do full nirjal fast, and then at night he'd stay up all night. And if he was at the temple, then he would chant all night in the temple room. I think, yes, later he asked your Jain devotees to fast half day on Ekadashi. So when I received Brahmin initiation in Mayapur, in Jagannath Mandir. And Guru Maharaj, he liked to give initiation at Jagannath Mandir. The temple president there was our godbrother, senior godbrother, Swarup Damodar Prabhu. And he compiled Guru Maharaj's Pranam mantra. And at those days, we didn't have to sit any tests or pass any exams to get first or second initiation. You were just recommended by the temple, and then you received initiation. But Guru Maharaj did have a requirement, for Brahmin initiation, and he wanted us to learn a Bhagavad Gita verse describing qualities of a Brahmin. It's 1842, so peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, wisdom, knowledge, and religiousness. These are the qualities by which the Brahmanas work. So the night before I was going to receive Brahmin initiation, I went into Guru Maharaj's room. He asked me the verse. I just kind of mumbled it, but Guru Maharaj didn't say anything. Then he just started to explain that, as Srila Prabhupada says, that you know, when you receive Brahmin initiation, it's not that you become a Brahmin, it's just that you're getting that opportunity to become a Brahmin and to develop Brahminical qualities. And Guru Maharaj was very particular, he emphasized a lot, and he was very particular that we should pronounce the Gayatri mantra properly. So also around that time, I won't take too long now, maybe. Around those days, Guru Maharaj was giving, he was taking the devotees on parikram. So maybe he started in maybe 88. But every year, you know, so the parikram would start in Mayapur, then Jagannath Puri, and then Vrindavan. So in 1991, we got the chance to go, but we joined the parikram in Vrindavan, and that time it was Kartik in Vrindavan, and so for the whole month of Kartik, Guru Maharaj is giving us Brihad Bhagavatam Rita seminar in the VIHE. Guru Maharaj had actually, he explained, he actually helped Tama Krishna Maharaj, and with Tama Krishna Maharaj and Burijan Prabhu, they actually set up VIHE in 1987 in Vrindavan, and that's when he gave the first. That time he gave the first Vaishnava etiquette seminars. I think he gave twice there. But in 91 he was speaking on Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and around those days, you know, like Prema said, it was a very different ISKCON, and like nowadays we have a lot of translations by books, you know, by ISKCON devotees about from our previous acharyas, you know, about the previous acharyas, books by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, about, you know, our Vaishnava heritage. But those days there was hardly anything. There were a few books, but not many. And so Guru Maharaj would give quite a lot of classes about, not really seminars, but just classes. So he spoke about Sharanagati by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Brihad Bhagavatamrita by, and also Madhurya Kadambini by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and the teachings of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he also spoke quite a lot about our Vaishnava heritage, you know. And for me, I was especially attracted to those kind of classes where he spoke about, you know, Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and then the generation after, you know, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and Shyamananda Prabhu, and the songs we also used to sing, you know, like we have our songbook, the ISKCON songbook. So we were, you know, most devotees were familiar with those songs, but Guru Maharaj was singing so many bhajans that we never heard, you know. I think around that time also Guru Maharaj was the minister for Vaishnava culture. So I think this was like also one of Guru Maharaj's very important and valuable contributions. Like, you know, he would speak about Vaishnava, our Vaishnava heritage, Vaishnava culture, Vaishnava etiquette, and of course, you know, it was wonderful because you were hearing it from the perfect embodiment of Vaishnava etiquette and culture, you know, Guru Maharaj, this aristocratic Vaishnava. In Vrindavan, so in 91, when Guru Maharaj was giving Brihad Bhagavatamrita class for a month, that time we didn't actually attend the class because financially we couldn't afford it, but actually it was a blessing because Prema, you were cleaning Guru Maharaj's rooms when Guru Maharaj was going to give class, and you asked me to help you, and so that was very, very special. And then in the evenings, Guru Maharaj gave class in his rooms. So most of you have been to Vrindavan, and Guru Maharaj was staying in the Krishna Balaram guest house. So the rooms, you know, you have the smaller rooms, but when you go up the stairs, on the left-hand side, on the first and second floor, there's one room there, which is quite big, and they use it for sannyasis, guests. So Guru Maharaj was staying there, and in the evening he gave darshan, and he would sing kirtan, bhajans. And one day Guru Maharaj said, one afternoon, he said, I'm going to take you to a very special place. Prema and Govinda, you remember. And unfortunately, I couldn't share the picture with you. But you have seen this picture on WhatsApp, I'm sure. So he said, when I used to serve Srila Prabhupada in the afternoons, I would go to this place to chant my rounds. So just outside, just opposite Prabhupada's house, there's a side entrance to the temple. And so you take that entrance, you go outside, out there, and you take a left and you go towards the Goshala. And Guru Maharaj, this is just near the Goshala, there was like a grove, and there was a tree which had an old well, and Guru Maharaj sat on the well, and we sat around him under a tree, and he would read, we went there a few times, he read from Krishna book. And there was one day, there was this ant that was, you get in Vrindavan, you get these big ants, and it was on his dhoti, and so Guru Maharaj just brushed it, and then the ant landed on the ground, and there was another ant there, and it collided. Guru Maharaj said, in Kali Yuga, just a little provocation, and fighting and quarrel ensues. So another day, at that time also, Tamakrishna Maharaj was there, and he was giving seminars too, and he had some disciples with him, and Guru Maharaj and they gave initiations together, and dear Gaura Hari and Radhika, they received initiation, and you'll hear from them next week. And so sometimes they took us on parikram, but local parikram in Vrindavan. And one day they took us to Radha Damodar temple and Radha Madan Mohan temple. So in Radha Damodar temple, first we took darshan, and then afterwards we went around the back to the samadhis, with the Goswamis. And then we sat there and they both spoke. First Tamakrishna Maharaj spoke, and then Guru Maharaj spoke. Guru Maharaj spoke about, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and how they came from very wealthy, aristocratic Brahmin families. But when they met Lord Chaitanya, then they gave everything up, and they came to Vrindavan, and they lived in a very austere, simple way. And Guru Maharaj was emphasizing the importance of humility. And then he told a story, which many of you have probably heard it, because he told it many times. He told the story of King Akbar and Birbal. So King Akbar had a favorite minister who was Birbal, because he was very brilliant. And but the other ministers in Akbar's court, they didn't like it, this favoritism towards Birbal. So to show, Akbar wanted to show, Birbal's brilliance. So one day he brought the court, he was holding court, and the ministers came in, and on the floor there was a stick. So he asked the ministers, he said, I want you to make this stick shorter, but without touching it. And so the ministers, they were, bamboozled, they couldn't figure out what to do. And then Birbal came forward, and he had a longer stick, and he placed it nearby that short stick. And he said to Akbar, now your stick is shorter. So Guru Maharaj said, when he was explaining that when we recognize, when we see the glories and the importance of Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, then automatically we become small and we become humble. So that was very instructive. And so finally, just especially in those earlier days, whenever I had any difficulties, Guru Maharaj, he gave me the same instruction. Actually, he told me you just tolerate it, You just be tolerant, you know. And I understood that to mean humble and tolerant. And he'd say that the difficulties in spiritual life, they're stepping stones to bring us closer to Krishna. And one time he said to me later, when I was having some difficulty in service, he said, in spiritual life, these are the tests that Krishna puts us through. Accept them as an opportunity to show your sincerity to him and face them boldly. After all, we can only try our best and leave the results to him. Don't become disheartened. After all, Krishna is seeing all the sincere efforts you are making to serve him. And rest assured that he is very pleased with you. That is what really should matter. Thank you very much for letting me glorify Guru Maharaj, and I think I should stop now because it's getting late.
Jahnava, please carry on for a few more minutes. Please share some of your exchanges with Guru Maharaj.
I think, you know, especially during those times when, those years when you were there in Mayapur, you know, serving, before you got married, I guess it was almost 10 years, like you were there. And so luckily, you know, because of your friend, you gave your friendship to me. So whenever I came, you would, I'd get the chance to just be with you because you were serving Guru Maharaj in his rooms as his servant, secretary, everything. And so I learned so many things at that time. And one thing was once you asked me to do Guru Maharaj's correspondence, you know, his mail. That time Guru Maharaj didn't have Gmail. He was on Pamho, which is a devotee kind of email network. And so Guru Maharaj had this, you know, he followed Srila Prabhupada. He did follow Prabhupada's system mostly when he was giving he would dictate the letters, but sometimes he would give the points, and he'd say, I would dictate the points, and then he'd say, you fill them out, which was quite nerve-wracking. But this time he was, I just had to listen to his letters on the dictaphone and transcribe them. But there was another devotee who was, so I was typing them on the computer, and there was another devotee who was put them into Guru Maharaj's outbooks and send them. But one day, in one batch, we made a mistake because there was a letter. There was two letters, but they were addressed to a devotee who had the same name. So one letter was going to, I even remember her name. Her name was Anuradha Devi Dasi, and one letter was going to Anuradha Mataji, who was a Prabhupada disciple, and one was going to a disciple of Satsvarup Maharaj, and somehow the letters got mixed up and they were sent to the wrong devotees. So when Guru Maharaj found out, he got so upset. And I don't know if you remember, he called us in, and he was, you know, he was very upset. He said, how does it look? You know, it looks so bad to, you know, to my god sister. I'm saying, please accept my blessings. And he said, you know, that actually it looks very bad because I'm representing Prabhupada, you know, so it's not, I feel it's not good, you know. Like, you know, I understood that that this is how Guru Maharaj, you know, saw himself, he's representing Prabhupada. And for us, you know, like now, whatever we do is representing Guru Maharaj, how we act and how we behave. But afterwards, I mean, afterwards, Guru Maharaj was very angry, but you said to Guru Maharaj, please, Guru Maharaj, don't worry, you know, we'll write to them and we'll explain, we'll apologize. And then Guru Maharaj was pacified, you know, he was okay. But on the way back, you know, we were walking back to where we were staying, and I was really like devastated. But you told me, Brahma, you said, you know, these things happen, we make mistakes, but we have to learn from them. And we have to learn from them and rectify, you know, the mistake. And many times after that, I saw that actually sometimes you would make a mistake, but when you actually took some initiative to actually correct the mistake, then Guru Maharaj became really pleased and happy, with that. So that was like an important instruction for me. One of the other things that really stayed with me, that left a big impression, certainly from seeing how you were serving Guru Maharaj Prema, and also how my senior God brothers and sisters served Guru Maharaj, and how Guru Maharaj was himself, was his attention to detail, and his desire that when we do service, that we offer the very best, that it should be very high quality. So there were just a few examples, especially like when it came to Guru Maharaj's, when he was writing his letters, correspondence, or any type of writing, articles, articles, and for books, magazines, anything. Guru Maharaj was he really expected that it should be high quality and there shouldn't be any mistakes in it. Many times, if he called, he would ring me sometimes to discuss, say, an article or something, but the first thing he would do is he would point out the mistake, and sometimes it would just be a very, very small, just like one word, maybe one word or even one letter, like a typo, and he'd say, in this page and that paragraph there's a mistake and you must change it. And I remember when he was, of course, like Prema, you and like Govinda and Balaram and Shamananda Prabhu, the servants who actually spent a lot of time serving and doing his secretarial work, you had much more experience of this. But when Guru Maharaj was when dictate his letters, he used to put so much thought into it. You could see that, like, so much went into it. Yeah, I think especially when it came to, from my experience, when it came to like prasadam, like cooking, all aspects of prasadam, the cooking, serving prasadam, Guru Maharaj like put a lot of, he paid a lot of attention and he wanted it done properly, So like cutting vegetables, he was so particular about it, like for stir fry vegetables or chow mein, the vegetables had to be cut, the cauliflower, broccoli, a certain way and the same size, and but there was a reason, for it. It wasn't just that, okay, like Guru Maharaj is a perfectionist. There's a reason, because attention to detail. This is how I understood that. This attention to detail is, a sign of devotion, and it's a sign. It shows like your consciousness, that because Prabhupada, always said that you have to be conscious before you're Krishna conscious, and so that's why Guru Maharaj was like that with. Paying attention to detail and offering, and because he also wanted to offer, he offered the best to Krishna, and he wanted us to do the same. And Guru Maharaj was like that with everything, like he himself was like that, and he wanted us to be like that, like the way we dressed. Later on, he didn't really expect that so much, but especially earlier days, he wanted us to dress properly, not necessarily opulently, but smartly, to appear like nice Vaishnavas, and in our dealings, and of course in our service. It was not one time, but many times. There was when it was during the retreats. I think around 2008, after Guru Maharaj had his heart problems, and he started to have retreats around the world. So the first retreat was anyway, the one in Europe was in Switzerland. It was a very special and beautiful place. And after that, then he was having, he was holding them in South Africa, America, and later India, Australia. So every year in Europe, he would have a retreat in a different place, in a different country. So a few times he had in Spain, in Malaga, and we hired like a big hotel in Guru Maharaj, and it was by the beach, and Guru Maharaj stayed in the best room, which had the best view. And it was a hotel, so we took over the kitchen, and Champaglata and her team, they would cook for the devotees, and but also for Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj would take prasadam in his room. And, as you know, like Guru Maharaj wanted the best prasadam to be served to the devotees. And although he had his, what Champaglata and they would cook for him, he was, what he preferred, like, so stir-fry vegetables and rice and asparagus and his spinach and semolina and things like that. Pizza, of course. And but he wanted to know what the devotees were having every day, and he would discuss the menu with Champaglata and adjust it. So when we made Guru Maharaj's plate, we would serve him put all his preps that he were good for him, that he liked, but also we would put small katoris of what we had cooked for the devotees that day. It was generally like every day was different, like sometimes Indian, Chinese, or Italian. So he would try a little bit. So, and one day after Gaurahari took the plate up and he brought it down, and then he said to Champaglata, Guru Maharaj wants to see you, and she took me with her. And Guru Maharaj was saying to her, it's very nice, what you cooked. But then he said, when you made this prep, how did you make it? And then he gave some suggestions how to improve it. And so the retreats were for like a week. And this happened like 4 days out of those 7 days. And, Champaglata is actually a very, very good cook. And she knows how to, especially she knew how to cook for Guru Maharaj, and I was thinking that she's such a good cook, and already, but Guru Maharaj wants to improve her cooking even more. So he actually, he said to her that, he said to her, you are a good cook, and, it's very nice the way you're cooking, but I want you to improve, because when we offer to Krishna, we should when we offer to Krishna and Prabhupada, we must offer the best, And then he said also, for preaching, it's important that we have high quality service, so that when people meet us and they see us, they're impressed and they're attracted to Krishna consciousness. So this is really why I could understand. This was why Guru Maharaj placed so much importance on this attention to detail and trying to offer the best we can. Thank you, Prema. Thank you.
Charu, could you share with us some experiences with your time, during your time as the editor for Spiritual Connections? Just something I wanted to personally share about Jahnava is after I think there was a little bit of a gap after I
feel
the issues that I did as the editor, and then Jahnava was taking over, but Jahnava was such a humble, she always has been humble, extremely humble. The first issue that she did, she put my name as well, and I was like, why did he put my name? And even I told Guru Maharaj, why did Jahnava put my name? And Jahnava was so sweet. She just thought that I would feel bad because she had taken over. And I didn't do anything for that issue, Jahnava. You put my name. I mean, normally, devotees do, and, devotees, anyway, you're such a humble devotee, such a rare soul. This is something I wanted to share with everyone.
No, actually, no. What happened was...
Sorry.
Actually,
Carry on.
You were the one who was anyway. what happened, you know, the earlier spiritual connections, Manjari Mataji, she produced them, you know, and it was her like initiative, and they started in 1993, and and then I think after Anuradha Mataji from South Africa, she did a few. But then you took over, and you did the bigger ones. Devotees have seen the larger A4 size ones. You did the Abhay Charan one and the Guru Tattva one, and the Guru Maharaj really liked those ones because of the quality. Because you had improved the quality and made them so beautiful, you know. And that around the time Guru Maharaj he stopped spiritual connections for a while, and that was like, you know, when Harikesh Prabhu had some difficulties, then again, you know, like I said, you know, Guru Maharaj, he stopped giving initiation, and he stopped things like that. He stopped spiritual connections because he wanted the focus again to be on Prabhupada. He wanted to emphasize Prabhupada. And so then he started in 99 or 2000, he started it again. And actually, we were there in Mayapur together, and he told you actually he wanted to start it again, and you suggested me, and I was completely freaked out, I remember. And Guru Maharaj said, I said, I don't know, I've never done anything like this. And Guru Maharaj said, practice makes perfect, you know, and he told you to help me. So that's why. And you did help me, because I, you know, like whatever I tried to do, I just tried to follow what you had already done. But after Tama Krishna Maharaj's departure, then Guru Maharaj wanted that issue of spiritual connections. He wanted that to be in honor of Tama Krishna Maharaj. And, you know, even though there wasn't a lot of time to put it together, but I could see that, you know, because Guru Maharaj really wanted it, you know, he wanted to offer, this was like part of his offering to honor Tama Krishna Maharaj. And once it was ready, it was shipped to Dallas. Guru Maharaj went to Dallas for Tama Krishna Maharaj's Vyasa Puja, and he offered it there, and he distributed it free to all the disciples. And like with many things, you know, like when Guru Maharaj really wanted something, then you knew that's how it happened. Krishna would make everything happen so that to fulfill the desire of his pure devotee. Just like with the Ujjain temple, like who can imagine temple being built, you know, in 10 months? That was because Guru Maharaj really wanted it.
So was that the last issue that was published? Tama Krishna Maharaj, yeah. After that it stopped again. Why did it stop?
Yeah, you know, Guru Maharaj is, you know, it stopped because you know, Guru Maharaj is always very sensitive to his to anything that would take away from Prabhupada's glory. So what happened was when he came in 2003 to London, then he said, he was kind of joking about it. He said that some of his godbrothers had said that, just a few of them had said that, you know, the quality of Spiritual Connections magazine was even better than Back to Godhead, you know. And Guru Maharaj said, I think they, you know, and actually they said it in a complimentary way. But Guru Maharaj felt bad, you know, this is Prabhupada's magazine, and if Spiritual Connections is better than Back to Godhead. But so then he said, anyway, he said, so we'll put it on hold. But he said he wanted it to become like an online magazine, because anyway, at that time, times were changing, you know, like internet was becoming more prevalent, and he said we should preach according to the times, you know. So he said, you know, make Spiritual Connections like an online magazine. So we tried to do that, but it didn't happen at the time. And later what happened was when Guru Maharaj went to Ujjain, then the devotees, they set up his website. So that's why after his departure, we decided, a group of us, Govinda Prabhu, Shamananda Prabhu, and a very nice international team of devotees, we thought we wanted to revive Spiritual Connections online. So that was, and it was open the website, Spiritual Connections website, was launched on Guru Maharaj's Tirubhav to try and fulfill his desire and for the devotees, to share Guru Maharaj's teachings.
It's very, very beautiful. I mean, you've done an amazing job at reviving spiritual connections. But one thing I'd like to add that, the jump from the simple, spiritual connections to the beautiful ones, that was actually Guru Maharaj. We just did the layout here. The first layout was done in England. Vinod Bihari?
Vinod Krishna.
What brother's name? Vinod?
Yes.
Yeah. He's the one actually who really made a wonderful quality. We just did the layout, but the printing was done by him. And Guru Maharaj is very particular about the quality of any printing. Even his Vyasa Puja books, Guru Maharaj is very particular about the editing and, sending in your offering on time and the quality. Guru Maharaj is very, very particular.
Yeah. Yeah, he was like so particular. And it was like, Guru Maharaj was, although we didn't put his name there as the editor, but he was the editor, really. He was the chief editor. He was like involved in everything, like, from start to finish. Yeah. But yeah, he was like very particular about, when we publish, especially anything that was put out, like printed especially. And the more, I felt like the wider the audience, the more particular he was, like when he would write articles sometimes, or even letters, many times he said that whenever I write and then I go over it and edit it, every time I read it, I want to keep changing it and improving it, but there were many times when he wanted to produce some books, like even in 91, he wanted to produce Bhagavatamrita, and then later, he gave seminar on art of dying, so he wanted to produce a book on that, and he wanted just before his departure, he actually wanted a book about Srila Prabhupada, the founder of Charya. But sometimes, even though we did the editing on some of the books, but Guru Maharaj wasn't, because he wasn't happy with the editing, and then he didn't have the time himself to actually go through it. So then it didn't manifest because Guru Maharaj's standard and his expectation was so high, So yeah.
Would you like to share with us some experiences that you had cooking for Guru Maharaj? Because I know Guru Maharaj is very fond of your baking. Did Guru Maharaj teach you how to cook certain dishes?
No, very much. Like you said I was a good cook, but I'm not at all. But and I know you are, so I hope you will come share again. All about your service cooking for Guru Maharaj. The baking. There's many things that I learned from you, like what and you because you would share your experiences and what Guru Maharaj liked, and like when you made those Vyasa Puja cakes earlier on, you told me Guru Maharaj liked fruit cake. So for Vyasa Puja after that, we try, because it's also easier to use to make fruit cake if you're making a big cake for Vyasa Puja. But Guru Maharaj liked fruit cake, so sometimes I'd make fruit cake, cupcakes, as fruit cake for his packed lunch. But I think with sweets, like Guru Maharaj did say that your sweets should be sweet. There should be enough sugar in it. There was the first time I made sweet rice. It was a long time ago, and it was in the temple, and it's like a big pot of sweet rice, and just before, so it was just cooked down. The milk had cooked down and it was ready. So maybe about 10 seconds before I turned the flame off, I put the sugar in, stir it, and then I stirred it. So when Guru Maharaj had it, he said to me, next time you make sweet rice, make sure you turn the flame off and then add the sugar. So he could tell that I had just, he could tell my mistake, even though it was a very short amount of time. So in England, the sweets that we used to kind of make, because for breakfast, Guru Maharaj, he for a long time he was having white bread rolls with butter and avocado and cheese, and the cheese had to be sliced a certain size and all the same. And if they weren't the right size, the right thickness, he would tell us off. And so he would have the bread with the avocado first, and he liked, we would make the bread rolls, and he liked the bread to be soft, so we offered the top half because it was softer than the bottom half. But after he had the bread with the avocado, then he would have bread with jam, and we used to make strawberry jam because in England you get nice strawberries in the summer. So we saw that he liked strawberry jam, so quite often we make sweets with cream and jam. So I would make carob cake, cupcakes with fresh cream and strawberry jam. And Champaklata would often make scones, plain scones with cream and jam. He liked that. And he liked, Jamuna always used to make wonderful cakes, so he liked her cakes. And she also used to make puff pastry. So Guru Maharaj liked that a lot, just puff pastry with cream and jam. And I saw that, I think it was like, Guru Maharaj quite often would say, especially to his female disciples or who like to cook for him, he would say, what's your speciality? And if a disciple was very good at cooking something, then he would ask them, quite often to make that. And then that became like part of, a very loving reciprocation with the devotees. So like in England, Rameshwar Prabhu's wife, Krishangi, she was very good at making gulabs, and she would make kala jamun, it's a special type of gulab. So Guru Maharaj always ask her, make kala jamun, and of course Guru Maharaj loved ice cream, and so Krishangi would make. She was very good at making ice cream, just like you, Prema, and also Varsha Banavi. So they would always make ice cream, and Guru Maharaj would ask them, when are you going to make ice cream? And she used to make also a sabji that Guru Maharaj liked. It was stuffed aubergines and stuffed potatoes in tomato sauce. So you'd ask her to make that. And he sometimes a few times he asked Varsha Banavi to make a baklava, which is a Greek sweet with phyllo pastry and ground walnuts. Yeah, and Radhika, she used to make homemade marzipan with sweets with carob. So Guru Maharaj really liked this. Yes.
You remember when Subhadra used to make apple strudel?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Guru Maharaj used to love that. And one day I remember Subhadra, she was really shocked because Guru Maharaj told her, what do you think if we would put apple strudel in a sugar syrup? And she switched, she nearly fainted. But because Guru Maharaj, as you mentioned, Guru Maharaj wanted his sweets to be sweet. So that was something that I remembered. I'm really sorry. Would anybody else like to ask any questions? I'm so sorry.
It also became very late, and I feel really bad actually to keep you.
No, it's a pleasure to hear you, Jahnava. I really don't want to let you go. But if anybody would like to ask any questions, please raise your hands. In the meantime, I'll ask you a question, Jahnava. what do you feel now for us disciples serving in separation? What do you feel is something that we could do that would really please Guru Maharaj?
Well, I think, you know, Guru Maharaj himself, he said, you know, he made it kind of very clear what instructions of Prabhupada he considered most important, you know, to never leave ISKCON, to accept the GBC as the ultimate authority in ISKCON, and you know, your love for me will be shown by how you cooperate. And I think that especially the cooperating part, you know, I guess all of Guru Maharaj's instructions, I suppose, now they have much more meaning and depth to us now in after his departure. But I think especially with his departure, like it's for us to be together, to come together, to associate together. That's like really, we need that. That's what Guru Maharaj would want from us. It's not always easy, but you know, we get a lot of solace and sheltered by being with each other. And certainly, I think that's one of I've experienced that, you know, being with my God brothers and sisters, you know, that's how I feel Guru Maharaj's presence, definitely. And when we want to do service together, like before we had Guru Maharaj present, and he would tell us what to do, how to do service. And now when we try to serve, sometimes maybe we don't know what direction to take or how to do it. But when we're serving together, then we get to understand, you know, how to do that service to Guru Maharaj. You know, his instructions come through his dear disciples. You know. I think that's what I understood, and I feel that's really important and valuable.
I just got a message from Guru Hari Prabhu, who has also known Jahnava for a long time. He made a very important point. He said whenever Guru Maharaj walked into a room where he was staying, Guru Maharaj knew that Jahnava had been there. Her flower arrangements were perfect. Jahnava still makes the most beautiful floral arrangements I have ever seen in my life. I know you always did that. Even in India, when we had no flowers, we would run around and pick all these weeds and jungly leaves and flowers. I mean, you know, there were never any flowers except marigolds in those days. You know, they were so horrible. Anyway, so Jahnava would always pick something from somewhere and make a beautiful floral arrangement for Guru Maharaj's rooms. And Guru Maharaj always knew. You're right, Guru Hari Prabhu. Guru Maharaj always knew it was Jahnava because only you could do that. You had that magic.
You know, I
know Jahnava did. You did. Sorry, before I forget, I'm growing old, so you always. I know for years you did the floral arrangements at the manor. I mean, that was just service. It probably is even now, right? For years you've done the floral. You still do them, Jahnava?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's like a lifetime of service.
No, that's just a very, very small service. Like, but you know how Guru Maharaj is so kind. Like, you know, it's just such a small thing that I used to do. Like, and I learned it from you because you know you told me that Guru Maharaj likes flowers in his rooms, and from that Vyasa Puja very early when you put yellow roses, and I thought, yes, Guru Maharaj likes flowers in his rooms. So then when he came to England, I would, you know, try and do that. And Guru Maharaj is so loving and, you know, personal and caring. It's just, you do like a tiny little service and, you know, he just appreciates it and so much, you know. And I guess that's the thing that, you know, we have his instructions now, but that's what we really miss. It's, you know, like each one of us, he made us feel, you know, completely loved and cherished and understood and supported in every way. He was like a perfect father, loving spiritual father for us. And Yeah.
You know, Jahnava, one time Guru Maharaj told me that he was very fond of Radhanath Maharaj. He said because Radhanath Maharaj is a very non-envious person and he gives everyone credit. And somehow that quality has always been there in you. So you do all, you know, such wonderful service and you always give everyone else the credit. I mean, you give me credit for the flower arrangement. I mean, excuse me, I don't know how to put a leaf next to a flower, you know. You give everyone credit for all the service you do. That's such a non-envious quality.
No,
Guru Maharaj is so fond of you.
No, we're supposed to glorify Guru Maharaj, not me. So, you know, he definitely taught me to. Many times you know, like he would, you know how with women he wasn't so heavy, but he would when he chastised you or he wanted you to learn something, you definitely you learn your lesson. And he would often teach me.
Ever chastise you, Jahnava? Guru Maharaj never chastised you ever.
No, but there were definitely things that I needed to learn, and you know, he taught that, he told them, he made sure. You know, it's funny, you know, because sometimes you know, maybe you didn't experience that, but Guru Maharaj himself said that sometimes if he wasn't pleased with you, or you know, if there was something you needed to correct, he didn't chastise you, he would just ignore you. He would just and then
sometimes Guru Maharaj would be, you know, Guru Maharaj would sometimes also be the, like Govinda Prabhu said, no? You know, he would just keep quiet and
yes. Those were like the heaviest, when he didn't say anything. He would just become so quiet, and that was so heavy. Yeah.
Like the Guru Tattva issue. I mean, I think I mentioned this to Govinda Prabhu. I know it's one of the most beautiful issues, but Guru Maharaj, when he got the spiritual connections in his hand, he looked at it and he said, why did you call it the Guru Tattva issue? And I was, you know, like when Guru Maharaj asked you sometimes asked you a question and you had no answer, and you knew you did something not right, but you didn't know why it was not right. And then you knew that if you say anything, Guru Maharaj maybe would get more upset. So it was like this circle that you would keep going around in your head because you didn't know what to answer, because you didn't know why it was wrong, and you didn't know what Guru Maharaj wanted to hear and what you shouldn't say. So that was one of those instances. Guru Maharaj asked me, why did you call it the Guru Tattva issue? And I just completely blanked out, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, and then I thought, I can't say that. I can't tell you, I don't know why I called it the Guru Tattva, named it the Guru Tattva issue. Because Guru Maharaj's point was, and in my mind, I don't know what I was thinking. And Guru Maharaj was really quiet, and he just went, you know. It was one of those instances I had with Guru Maharaj. He was just like,
yeah.
Because I think he was, for me, because I was writing everything about Guru Maharaj, it was Guru Tattva. But for him, you know, Guru Maharaj is, you know, so philosophical. So I'm not intelligent at all. So it was a very frightful experience for me. Even though everyone was glorifying that issue, Guru Maharaj, only comment was, why did you call it the Guru Tattva issue?
Yes.
And I had no answer.
Yeah. But I always saw, you know, when you were serving Guru Maharaj during those times, especially, that you always knew, you know, because, you know, when you were around Guru Maharaj, you needed to, you know, say the right things at the right time, and I always was in awe of how you were able to do that, you know, like to say the right things and know what to say, when to say it, when to speak up, when not to speak up. So that was something I always, but yeah, I think Guru Maharaj is so, like, you know, that attention to detail and everything, that you know, there's so much thought he put behind everything, you know, like so it's something that maybe, you know, like I wouldn't think that, okay, it doesn't matter, or, you know, maybe you type something and it's not, doesn't mean anything, but when Guru Maharaj sees it, it's like there's so much depth and thought behind it. That it's definitely a lesson that he's teaching us always.
Anybody else? Kamlesh Prabhu has sent a message. Jahnava is so dear to Guru Maharaj because of his ability and her ability. That is so true, Kamlesh Prabhu. She's so qualified, so gentle.
Please don't say
such a wonderful disciple, such an example of her perfect disciple for me.
We have to, anything that is not true, but also we're just anything we're able to do is Guru Maharaj's mercy, and especially now it's like that. It's like, yeah.
Would anybody else like to ask any questions or make any comments? Chanu, one last question from me. Did Guru Maharaj give you any instructions for Grihastha ashram? I mean, did he give you any?
He didn't. He didn't give he didn't give specific instructions, but I mean, trying to think. Obviously, as women, he expected us to be, good, exemplary wives, but at the same time, he expected the husbands to be exemplary as well. I think that he did say like once that if there's any, that if there, naturally in Grihastha ashram, you're going to have, when you get married, you're going to be there will be arguments and difficulties, but I think he said that, like Prabhupada says, not to take it very seriously, and that for the woman to, it's on the onus is more on the woman to just be tolerant and just, not get so disturbed by it. I do remember, like, in those earlier times, that even when Guru Maharaj was quite particular about how we behaved, especially in Mayapur and Vrindavan. Like, he didn't like us to, be seen like maybe sitting together, the couples sitting together, on the grounds in Mayapur. So he was quite strict and his expectations were quite high. Yeah. Trying to think.
There's a question for you, Mataji. How you joined the temple? How did you join the temple? I think what I heard from devotees, it was quite challenging. Your father, Prabhuji, initially were against your joining. Can you little bit narrate if I am correct? Lila Purushottama Prabhu, all the guns are on you now.
No, I just quickly tell it because I just at that time, if somebody was interested in Krishna consciousness, then you would just join the temple. Like, there weren't many devotees who would join, who interested in Krishna consciousness. You become interested in Krishna consciousness, and then you just stay at home, study, and or get married and practice from outside. If anyone was interested, you just join the temple. So when I met the devotees, I wanted to join the temple. But although my parents were, they used to come to the temple, but they wanted me to study, and so there was some objection, and they didn't want me to join, I suppose, full time. And so then I just, but I really wanted to join, so I just left home and I ran away, joined the temple, but then of course, very quickly, by my parents, by the association of the devotees, and they changed. They could understand that this was, the Krishna consciousness wasn't like a bad thing; it was good. So, and when I used to visit home, like I remember when they were still worried, I used to take Mahaprasad every week, and I think that really changed them, so the power of Mahaprasad is amazing. But I do remember, like, Guru Maharaj, at that time, in ISKCON, it was like that if you were interested, then you should just join the temple and not carry on your studies. But Guru Maharaj's mood was, when I met Guru Maharaj, his mood was very different, and he did encourage, even at that time, devotees to carry on with their studies. Like Prema, he did. He wanted you to study. He didn't want you to, even though you wanted to just join Mayapur.
Even for that time, Guru Maharaj was quite revolutionary, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Now it's become normal, but at that time, Guru Maharaj was very insistent.
Yes.
Whereas the rest of ISKCON wasn't.
Yes. Yeah.
Charu, just one last thing. Could you tell us something about your mother leaving her body? Because I remember when you all were considering bringing her to Mayapur to leave her body, but Guru Maharaj was quite radical, actually. He said, you don't need to be in the dham to be in the dham. She can be in the consciousness, Mayapur consciousness, even being in England. And that was very shocking for all of us at that time. I remember we had never heard anything like that, because the mood was always come to the dham to leave your body. But Guru Maharaj, I think for Savitri Mataji, he was like, no, you can create Mayapur consciousness even in England. Could you tell us something about that?
Yes. She was very fortunate, because like when, as Lila Purushottama was saying, that when she got sick, it was Guru Maharaj had come to England in 1999 to film Abhay Charan, and he stayed. He needed a big house, because Shyamasundar Prabhu and Yadava Prabhu and there was quite a big team, quite a few devotees who were coming along, so he needed somewhere a bit bigger to stay. And my dad's house, it was quite big, but it was like an old Victorian house, so it wasn't very opulent, but it was large. So at that time, when Guru Maharaj stayed, so he stayed for about a month, and then towards the end of that, when Savitri Priya found out she had cancer and it was terminal, but she was very fortunate, because at that time at that very difficult time, Guru Maharaj was there to help her, and he gave her initiation. And then they had told her that she had only about 3 months left, but actually she in the end, it was about a year before she left her body. And she wanted to go to Mayapur, and we did come to Mayapur, Prema, and this was around Gopanim time, and you were very kind, and you helped to look after her, you arranged everything, and I remember she wanted to go to South India, after that. She had this desire, but Guru Maharaj said to her at that time that then she became more sick. From Mayapur, she wanted to go to South India, to all the holy places. But Guru Maharaj said, you don't need to go to South India, because in Mayapur, Mayapur, Vrindavan, all the holy places are there, so then she came back to London, and around July, she got very sick. And during the filming, at that time, Guru Maharaj was filming Abhay Charan in America. And one day and he would call, to find out how she was, quite regularly. And one day she had a dream that Guru Maharaj had come to the house, and we were getting the house ready for Guru Maharaj's visit. so I just mentioned it, in passing to Guru Maharaj, and Guru Maharaj said, he decided to come, which was incredible because, he was so busy. And so he came to visit her, and, he stayed a couple of days, like 3-4 days, and every day he came and he was speaking about Sharanagati, the process of surrender. And at that time she was quite sick, and she wanted to actually go to Mayapur then, but that was the time that Guru Maharaj said, actually, he could see that, she was too sick, to travel. And he said, you don't need to be in Mayapur. He said the association of the devotees is, is providing that atmosphere of Vrindavan and Mayapur, So that was the time he said that. And one of the things, I suppose, this is like instructive for all of us, what he asked her, is there anything, that's in your heart or in your mind that's holding you back, because, you're going to leave your body soon. So is there anything that's on your mind that's stopping you, from just focusing completely on Krishna? And I saw that quite a few times after that, like when devotees were terminally ill, Guru Maharaj would ask them that, he would be concerned that there's nothing that's, hindering their focus on Krishna. But certainly, like afterwards when she left her body, like sometimes, Guru Maharaj would appreciate just sort of how she left her body. But actually, and he'd always kind of say that it shows you that that this is the potency of what Prabhupada has given us. We just have to follow Prabhupada, and we'll achieve, perfection of life. But really, like all of that, whatever she was able to achieve, it was all only because of Guru Maharaj's mercy, definitely, like he was so humble that he never took any credit for it, but it was all because of Guru Maharaj, like everything that happened. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I kept you for so long. And
Hare Krishna. Sorry, I think I lost you. I'm not sure if I was heard, but I wanted to mention that we had an article on Savitri Mataji's life and passing away in one of the spiritual connections. So if everyone is interested, they could have a look at that article. Thank you so much, Jahnava. Is anybody else would like to make any comments or questions? They would like to have you back one more time. Gaur Hari Prabhu has mentioned. So we should pre-warn you, Jahnava. You're going to be invited one more time. You're such a special disciple of Guru Maharaj, such a special God sister that, it's just, you were just such a
there's so many
gem.
devotees, who, but if we come, it would be nice if yourself and Rati and we could speak together sometime in the future. Because I know you have so
grateful to Guru Maharaj that he gave us such beautiful God brothers and God sisters, that we can have such loving relationships.
Yes.
I think Guru Maharaj brought such a special, so much special mercy in our lives to be able to have friendships that have lasted for like 30 years.
Yes.
It's so rare to have friends.
Yeah.
Friendships that last for so many years.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Jahnava. Next week, we will have our dear God Brother Gaura Hari Prabhu speaking. So please join in, everyone. Thank you for attending. And my apologies for the delay in starting today's session. I'm really sorry. There was some, I think the happening lingo nowadays is technical difficulties. So I will also say technical difficulties. Everything becomes a technical difficulty when there's a problem. So anyway, thank you so much, Jahnava. Thank you, Lila Purushottama Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
please thank Akincana Prabhu. He is our Jamai Babu. He's one of the original Jamai Babus in our God family. We're very fond of him. He's very naughty, but he's very, very loving and nice. He's one of my special Jijajis, if I may say so. Thank you so much. Hare
Thank you very
Krishna.
much. Thank you. Thank
See you all next
Dear.
week again. Hari Bol. Guru Maharaj ki jai. Kalpatruvyascha kripasindhuvascha paditanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo. Jai. Hare Krishna.